Hello everyone, it's the AI Programmer back at you once again with another video. This time we're going to be talking about Crowdstrike and who's to blame. Who's to blame? Just kidding, guys. But no, we're just going to talk about kind of, you know, how, I guess, let's blame the dev who pressed deploy, right? So this is pretty much an article about how maybe things should be fairer. I think, there's a blog post titled After CrowdStrike Programmers Deserve Consequences, which is putting the blame on the on the IT or software engineer specifically in this case for mess ups, right? And yeah, so we're just kind of going to get into it and kind of just break this down. Big shout out to the person who wrote this article. And yeah, let's get right into it. So it says, yesterday I was browsing R programming. This is a subreddit, and I came across a blog post titled After CrowdStrike Programmers Deserve Consequences. The author opens up with a comparison of software engineers to an anesthesiologist or structural engineer and tells a personal story about his friend who got stuck in the hospital due to the CrowdStrike outage. Wow. Boy, that's rough. And it's true, software bugs can oof people. Mistakes in airplane autopilot software or malfunction in equipment run by software can cost the lives of people. Yeah, it's very dangerous when these things happen. Very dangerous. That's something you don't often think about. But then the author engages in an absurd rant about what my question is also too with the CrowdStrike stuff is like, man, is CrowdStrike really in that much of our infrastructure? Like, Jesus, that is crazy to me. I mean, that is crazy. I mean, that one, I digress. Let's kind of keep going. But then the author engages in an absurd rant about how the entire software engineering industry is a bit of a clusterfuck and makes a delusional claim about how software engineers should bear the responsibility for bugs and outages. So this person obviously disagrees with that that software engineers should bear the responsibility for bugs and outages. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think software engineers should bear the responsibility for bugs and outages? Do you think, there should be more of something that's responsibility placed on the weight of everyone, or it's shared, or maybe, it depends on the scenario or what have you? Drop your thoughts below. So it's not the first time I hear these arguments. I remember when VW emission scandal was revealed, people had the same arguments. The developers who coded the bypass should be responsible. I'll explain in the end of the article why I don't think developers should be responsible. So maybe we'll jump to that section right now. But for now, let me give you some figures to blame. So, man, so these are figures to blame. So before we do go into that, let's actually skip this and let's go to, and this guy, man, this person is going ham. Let's just keep going. Okay. So let's start with people who we can blame and, when situations happen, um, or things happen like this, right? Bugs and outages. So CEOs, when you argue with CEOs, why they deserve such a big pay and bonuses, they will usually say something along the lines of, entrepreneurship implies huge risk and lays the responsibility for failure on the shoulders of the founder slash CEO. And that's very true. Founders and entrepreneurs bear a lot of risk. They go on raising money, getting into debt, taking the role of running a company, and they usually enjoy the result of their success, which is translated to a nice salary or bear the consequences of failure. At least they used to. So I remember times when leaders had dignity and self-respect. They would go on stage and apologize. They would take responsibility and outline an action plan. I mean, this is very true. So this is leaning more towards the leader, quote unquote, of the organization should take responsibility. Some even step down from their position as a sign of failed management. But today they hide behind an army of PR people who write blunt, soulless, unsympathetic press releases, blah 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 blah. So, man, this is quite a rant. I'll say that I won't get into the specifics of this because you guys can kind of read here for yourself. I'll let you guys kind of check it out, but we'll go through kind of some of the key points. Um, and even getting to some of the CrowdStrike and McAfee, um, inner workings, I want to say, I guess there was a, yeah, I guess there was the CEO of CrowdStrike used to be a CTO at McAfee. So now let's move on to the customer, right? So it says that we could blame United or Delta that decided to run EDR software on a machine that was supposed to display flight details at a check-in counter. Sure, it makes sense to run EDR on a mission critical machine, but on a dumb display of information, or maybe let's blame the hospital. Why would they run EDR on an MRI machine? Um, so we should blame the IT department in these companies, unless we understand that the IT department was simply trying to check a box in a stupid regulation imposed by the government. So it makes sense to blame the government. Wow. So yeah, this is kind of getting into and like I said, I'm not saying this is kind of going through a bunch of people who we can blame as opposed to the software engineer. But I think this is like this is just going down the line of scenarios and how pretty much you know you can go down the line, right? I mean, it's very easy to put the blame on any one person, right? I mean, you can say, oh, it's because of these rules, right? And because of these laws, or you can say, oh, no, it's the company or it's the customer, right? I mean, you can really put the blame anywhere. So we can kind of wrap it up here. I kind of go down and skip down to the more of the solutions. Um, the board. Okay, so now he says, but the truth is we can't blame any of the above. They are the innovators, the entrepreneurs, the backbone of our economic systems. They all fail upwards. The white knights of our modern society, smartest, most successful individuals whose words and practices should be taken without questions as they spread the message of God Himself. No, we can't blame them. Instead, we should blame the peasants, these dirty developers who make a lot of unjustified money, whose work can be replaced by AI. You want to keep the word engineer? You want to compare software engineers to structural engineers? Then I have a shocking discovery your for you. A structural engineer won't sign off on a design that was made under pressure or would cut corners. He will shift the blame to the construction if they decide to use a different type of steel or cheaper screws. If you decide to replace an anesthesiologist with AI, then good luck to you. The reason why anesthesiologists or structural engineers can take responsibility for their work is because they get the respect they deserve. You want software engineers to be accountable for their code, then give them the respect they deserve. If a software engineer tells you that this code needs to be 100% desk covered, that AI won't replace them, and they need 3 months of development, then you better shut the F up and let them do their job. Um, yeah, so in the gist, this is getting into, you know, a rant defending software engineers. And I wouldn't say it's putting the blame on anyone. We did kind of go through some of the culprits that one could blame, but like I said, ultimately you want software engineers to just take responsibility for their work, right? Which will solve a lot of problems anyway. And also, there's a lot of nuances. This talks about a lot of nuances in politics in a way that doesn't kind of reference them as such. But there's another video I talked about which kind of discusses this. And a lot of these things happen because of those nuances in politics of maybe this wasn't 100% tested because of someone wanting to get it pushed out, right? Quicker than it was than what was recommended, right? So things like that can really cost you because someone's trying to check a box or someone's trying to satisfy their leads or their bosses or whatever the case may be. So these things are often the case, especially working at the larger levels of this industry. So we'll kind of end it there. Those are kind of my thoughts. Um, Disclaimer: we're not blaming anyone. We're not saying who's to blame for the CrowdStrike incident. Our title was clickbait. Um, this was just breaking down a blog post that was defending software engineers and kind of I guess you know, expand, providing insight into, you know, software engineers and structural engineers and kind of, the process, the true process, right? And how important it is to make sure you get test coverage, to make sure you really take your time to do things the right way. And yeah, so we'll kind of end it there. Make sure you guys check out my course, Future Proofing Your Career as a Developer for 2024 and beyond. So it's gonna tell you guys just how to pretty much future proof your career. AI is on the rise fast, and there's always this looming question of, when will I be replaced, right? I think that's in the mind of a lot of software engineers, as well as, am I an imposter? So, and this will kind of help you figure out what to do to kind of solve both of those things, right? To kind of mitigate your imposter syndrome and kind of reduce that feeling of am I an imposter? And also get you the skills, and I want to say the confidence too, because as you gain these certifications, you'll get the confidence and the knowledge to be able to say, you know what, I know what I'm doing. AI can't replace me because, I'm an asset, right? And so let's also make sure you guys subscribe to the free blog here. Lots of good information on there that I don't always get the time to make a video about. So most often content is going to be posted here on a daily basis, multiple times per day, often because I do like to write quite a bit. So definitely more so writing than speaking. So definitely check out the free Substack if you want more written content, um, helping you guys learn how to code, telling you guys how to get into the industry, and just kind of telling my story and also helping you guys to upskill and give you guys tips and references, cheat sheets, stuff like that. So that's it for this one. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's the AI Programmer.